On the night of October 9th, a private investigator named Michael R. Voss received a phone call from his younger brother that lasted 4 minutes and 11 seconds. And for the first 2 minutes of that call, the only sound on the line was the muffled breathing of a man who could not speak. Daniel J. Voss was an accountant at Harman Fielding Associates, a mid-sized firm on the fourth floor of a beige office building off Caraway Avenue. His life was measured in spreadsheets and vending machine coffee, the burnt kind from the machine on the third floor that everyone complained about and everyone still used. Every weeknight he left the office at 6:15, drove the same 11 minutes home, and reheated whatever his wife had left in the refrigerator. On October 9th, Daniel worked late. The building's badge log confirms his final swipe out at 9:42 in the evening. That was the last time anyone recorded seeing him alive. The first crack was small. When Michael reviewed his brother's phone records, he found that Daniel had made a call at 10:11 that night. Not to home, not to his wife, but to Michael himself. Michael had answered. He remembered a groggy confusion, asking Daniel repeatedly if he was there, hearing only a wet, rhythmic breathing and a faint tapping. 3 taps, then 3 more, then a long, dragging scrape against something metal. He remembered thinking his brother had pocket-dialed him from a bar. He remembered the call ending mid-tap and a stranger's silence in the half-second before the line cut. The following account is reconstructed from Michael's case notes and the records he was able to obtain before those records became difficult to obtain. Surveillance from the parking structure shows Daniel's sedan leaving level 2 at 9:51. A traffic camera at the intersection of Caraway and Delmont captures the same plate at 9:58, heading north. The next camera on that route, a license plate reader mounted above the Route 22 overpass, should have logged the vehicle within 6 minutes. It never did. The system was operational that night. Every other car crossing that overpass between 9 and 11 was recorded. Daniel's simply was not there. Michael interviewed 6 of his brother's co-workers. A woman named Priscilla Alderman told him Daniel had seemed rattled that afternoon, that he'd been reviewing an account he wasn't assigned to, a shell entity listed only as Meridian Holdings, and that he'd asked her whether it was normal for a client to route the same $84,000 through 9 different accounts in a single week. She said she hadn't thought much of it at the time. 3 days after speaking with Michael, Priscilla Alderman requested an indefinite leave of absence and moved out of state. Her forwarding address does not exist. The security guard who worked the lobby that night, a man named Curtis Blaine, badge number 407, told Michael he remembered a black SUV idling in the fire lane at 9:40. He described the driver as calm, unremarkable, a man who watched the elevator bank without looking at his phone. Curtis Blaine was scheduled for the following Monday. He did not appear. The staffing agency that placed him has no record he was ever employed there. Every thread Michael pulled ended the same way, in a person who had stopped existing on paper. Here is the detail Michael could not explain, the one he wrote in the margin of his notes and circled twice. He kept the recording of that 4-minute call, the automatic backup his answering service made of every incoming line. When he played it back a 4th time, weeks later, he heard something beneath the breathing that he had missed. The tapping was not random. Slowed down, it resolved into a pattern, the same 6 taps repeating, long, short, short, long, short, short. In Morse code, that spells the letter D twice. Daniel had been signing his own name in the dark, and underneath the taps, so faint it took a technician to isolate it, was a second sound. A voice, not Daniel's. Calm, quiet, close to the phone, saying a single sentence Michael has never allowed anyone to transcribe in full. The only part he wrote down was the beginning. He can hear you, but you already know that. Michael Voss no longer takes missing person cases. He closed his office on Ledbetter Road in the spring and stopped returning calls from Daniel's wife, who is still waiting. Last month, a package arrived at Michael's home with no return address. Inside was Daniel's cell phone, the battery long dead. When Michael charged it, the screen showed one new voice memo, recorded 11 days ago, 41 seconds long. It is the sound of a car trunk and someone tapping.